On the night of December 15th, 1990, as the Ark Tour sailed from Philadelphia to Leith, its crew noticed something amiss at the Flannan Isles Lighthouse. Its guiding light was conspicuously absent. 3 days later, upon reaching Leith, the crew wasted no time in alerting the Northern Lighthouse Board to the eerie silence emanating from the isolated outpost. The Flannan Isles, or the Seven Hunters, are a group of uninhabited rocky islands off the western coast of Scotland. Despite their desolate appearance, these islands were believed to have a mysterious effect on sheep. Yes. You see, shepherds would sail their flocks to graze on the grasses of the Flannan Isles, and these particular sheep reportedly gave birth to twins or recovered from illness. However, the legend of a haunting spirit kept shepherds from staying overnight. Now, in 1896, the Board of Trade sanctioned the construction of a lighthouse on the largest of the Flannan Isles, Eilean Mor. The lighthouse was completed in December 1899, and 4 lightkeepers were assigned to tend to it, and these keepers worked on staggered rotations of 6 weeks on and 2 weeks off, ensuring that there were always 3 men on the island at any given time. On December 15th, 1900, the steamship Ark Tour noted the absence of the lighthouse light, and the weather conditions weren't really favorable. However, this observation wasn't mentioned to the Northern Lighthouse Board. On December 26th, the lighthouse tender ship Hesperus made a routine visit to Eilean Mor. Captain James Harvey found it unusual that there was no flag on the flagpole and received no response to attempts to signal the lighthouse keepers. So Joseph Moore, the 4th keeper, was sent to shore to investigate. Arriving at Eilean Mor's east landing, Moore found everything seemingly undisturbed. The entrance gate, the doors, everything. All of them were closed as they had been when he last visited the island. However, the kitchen door was open, indicating that someone had been there recently. He also noticed all the clocks in the lighthouse were stopped. Next, he entered the rooms, and there he found the beds empty just as they had been left earlier that morning. With no sign of the 3 missing men, Moore realized that something was seriously wrong and returned to the ship to gather more help for the investigation. Upon further investigation, Moore and the search party found that while the eastboard landing was in perfect order, the westboat landing showed signs of damage. The box containing tackle and mooring ropes was missing, and the ropes were strewn across the rocks. Iron railings around the area were broken or missing, but this damage was already documented in the keepers' log and wasn't directly related to the disappearances. Now, what really happened there? Where did the keepers go? There had to be some sort of crumbs left around, right? Now, one thing notably missing was a lifebuoy kept among the railings approximately 110 feet above sea level. The ropes holding the buoy in place hadn't been removed by humans, suggesting that the sea had torn the buoy away. Historian Mike Dash found evidence of waves splashing on Eilean Mor as high as 300 feet, indicating that a 110-foot wave could be possible. Meanwhile, Moore took inventory of the clothes left behind by his co-workers and determined what they had been wearing when they disappeared. The logs from the keepers' final days provided some clues but didn't entirely explain their disappearance. If you're wondering, their job was taking readings and some other tasks, which included maintaining the grounds, taking atmospheric readings, and ensuring the lighthouse was functioning properly. The logs noted that morale among the keepers was low, and they mentioned recent storms and strong winds, even though there were no reports of storms in the area. This discrepancy raised questions about whether the men had experienced local weather disturbances or if they had hallucinated or fictionalized the storms. Additional logs, reportedly made by Thomas Marshall, detailed how the storms had frightened the men, leading them to pray despite being in a structurally safe building. Marshall described his fellow keepers as being quiet and emotional during this time. However, even if these logs were authentic, they didn't offer a clear explanation for the disappearance of the 3 men. Roderick Mackenzie, who was responsible for watching for communications from the Flannan Isles, reported that he was unable to see the lighthouse tower for several days during the disappearances. However, there was no indication that he had reported this absence to anyone until he was questioned by investigators later. His failure to report the absence of the light raised concerns about the fulfillment of his duties. The mysterious disappearance of the lighthouse keepers on Eilean Mor has puzzled investigators and sparked a plethora of theories. One possibility is that the men were swept into the sea by a powerful wave. The harsh conditions of the island, with its exposed cliffs and unpredictable weather, make this scenario plausible. However, the absence of bodies washing ashore raises doubts about this theory. Another hypothesis is that the interpersonal conflicts or psychological breakdowns led to tragic outcomes. The logs hint at low morale and unusual weather patterns, suggesting possible psychological strain on the keepers. Speculation abounds about fights breaking out or romantic relationships soaring, but the lack of evidence of violence on the island weakens this theory. A more outlandish suggestion is that the men were abducted by aliens. While this theory may seem far-fetched, it cannot be entirely dismissed due to the lack of concrete evidence pointing to any other explanation. The possibility of encountering supernatural entities like water sprites adds a captivating layer to the mystery of the Flannan Isles Lightkeepers' disappearance. Anyways, that wouldn't be scientifically satisfactory. Anyways, Captain James Harvey, who was aboard the Hesperus, sent a telegram to the Northern Lighthouse Board expressing his suspicions. He speculated that the men may have been swept away by the fierce storms that often batter the island, or perhaps drowned while attempting to secure equipment. As the Hesperus returned to port, Harvey left Moore and 3 sailors behind to continue the search, and he reported the disappearance to the authorities. The Northern Lighthouse Board wasted no time in launching an investigation, sending their superintendent Robert Muirhead to the Flannan Isles. Muirhead knew the missing men well and was determined to dig up the truth. His explanation of the scene led him to a chilling conclusion. It appeared that the men had been swept away by a massive wave while attempting to secure equipment stored on the western landing. It seemed that Marshall and Ducat had ventured out into the storm to retrieve the supplies, only to meet a tragic end. When they didn't return, MacArthur likely went to search for them, only to suffer the same fate. Anyways, as the years passed, the truth behind the disappearance of the Flannan Isles Lighthouse Keepers remained elusive. Whether by accident, misadventure, or design, questions surrounding the Flannan Isles Lighthouse Keepers is still one of the most perplexing episodes in Scottish maritime history. What do you think about this? Any possible theories? Do drop your thoughts in the comments below, and while you're at it, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications to stay updated on our stories. See you in the next episode.